Morning JOX, JOX 94.5. Appreciate you tuning in with us this morning. If you're out on the road, just be a little extra careful. We had a good bit of rain come through the Magic City last night, so just be aware of the roads out there. It looks like we're going to be in for a decent bit of rain here over the next couple of days, so just keep an eye on the road and be careful this morning wherever you may be going. But appreciate you joining us here this morning. We do have some things to get into really across the entire sports world, whether you are a fan of what goes on the diamond, you're a fan of the hardwood, fan of the gridiron, or most importantly, a fan of the transfer portal. I think that's everyone's favorite playing surface now. We've got news for you all around here. So why don't we start off with a little bit of Major League Baseball? Because right now that is the main thing that's going on outside of the transfer portal and all the drama around that. We're going to have plenty of time to get to all of that because, oh, buddy, got some interesting things that are going on there. Granted, at this point, we've kind of washed our hands of it, right? As here in the SEC, we just get to be bystanders. And
it's a family affair.
It is a family affair this morning. That's right. Yeah, family matters this morning. We're going to get into that in a little bit. But I did want to start off with some more good news because, hey, I mean, the Braves won 3 games in a row over the weekend. They swept the Twins up there in Atlanta when they won on Friday and Saturday. That was the first time they had back-to-back wins the entire season, all season, first time.
There we go. Hey, we're trending up. We're on the Choptober, baby.
That's right. That's right. So now they started a homestand against the St. Louis Cardinals last night, so going for their 4th win in a row, and it looked like it was going to be a little bit easier, but ultimately the Braves do get their 4th win in a row, so they are now 9-13 on the season. They're 7-2 at home, so think about that. They're 7-2 at home. They are 2-11 on the road, so that is not great. The good news for them, and you are aware of this if you listened to 3 Man Front yesterday, because Pat was struggling with this information. The Cardinals are now 1-10 on the road.
Okay, not the best start.
No, it is not. And just, I mean, when you compare those two and you look at how bad the Braves were on the road, and then you go and man, the Cardinals, like they're even worse. They've only won 1 game, and now they actually sit half a game behind the Atlanta Braves if you were to look at the overall National League standings. But a big win there last night for Atlanta. Again, as I said, they get the win 7-6. Schwelly goes 7 strong innings, gives up 8 hits, 3 runs, 2 of them earned. Strikes out 5 and no walks. So he lowers his ERA back down to 2.56 on the season. He's been, again, his last outing got knocked around, but outside of that, he's been very, very solid for the Atlanta Braves this year. You had Fetty on the other side going for the Cardinals. A solid showing from him as well. You got 6 strong innings out of him, 2 runs, both of them earned, 3 strikeouts. You did have 3 walks, though, unfortunately, there for the St. Louis Cardinals. But this was a game that, if you're a Braves fan, you probably turned it off, maybe going into the 9th inning. It was late. It's 7-3. We're going to go to bed. But the Cardinals made an interesting credit to them. So the Cardinals got out to a 2-0 lead there in the 2nd inning. Then in the bottom of the 3rd, Austin Riley comes to the plate, been swinging a good bat here lately for the Atlanta Braves. He hits a 2-run bomb to tie it up at 2. Then you had the Cardinals that tacked on another run there in the 6th inning to make it 3-2. And then in the bottom of the 8th, the Braves bats came alive. You got an RBI single from Matt Olson. Michael Harris hits a sac fly. And then Sean Murphy gets up and launches a 3-run home run to give the Braves a 7-3 lead going into the 9th inning. And you're feeling pretty good, I would imagine, if you were an Atlanta Braves fan. But you go to the top of the 9th inning, and the Cardinals, they did some damage. They ended up getting some runners on base. They ended up hitting. Contreras had a 2-run home run that followed up an RBI double you had from Scott, and so it ended up being a 7-6 game. And the Cardinals had a runner on base with 2 outs in the top of the 9th. Nolan Arenado comes up to the plate. You're thinking, man, all right, this would be a great opportunity for us to see a little bit of that Nolan Arenado magic, and unfortunately, he just kind of a bizarre situation. He goes to swing, kind of a check swing, fouls off the pitch. Unfortunately, he doesn't foul it off. It actually rolls right in front of home plate. So Sean Murphy able to just pick the ball up, tag him out at home, and that was all that she wrote there from Atlanta last night. But all in all, a big win for the Atlanta Braves. Again, 7-6 over the St. Louis Cardinals last night, 4 in a row for Atlanta, who absolutely needed to hit this hot streak at the time that they are. So the next game of that set will take place tonight at 6:15. Again, just like last night. So you'll be able to hear that right here on JOX 94.5. And the pregame show with Barrett Salee will start at 6 o'clock. So we've got you covered here all day. We're going to be with you until 7 o'clock. Then you're going to have McElroy and Kublik in the morning from 7 to 10. Then 3-man front out at Social Taco in Homewood today from 10 to 2. You got Paul from 2 to 6. And then you got the Atlanta Braves from 6 until, I don't know, 9:30, whenever that game's going to wrap up. So we've got you covered all day here on JOX 94.5, and we appreciate you getting your morning started off with us. All right, so I did mention, though, there is some drama going on. I wanted to get to the Braves, congratulate the Braves, have some fun, get the fun stuff over with.
There we go.
Because there was some drama last night in the world of college football, and shocker, it involves the same family that we've been talking about for the last couple of weeks. So I know yesterday we kind of talked about how we were done with this. Nico's going to UCLA. We're moving on. You know, we'll revisit it in the season, see how things have panned out for him there and for the Bruins. But I didn't expect this story to evolve the way that it has. And for one, I'm very grateful for it, because this is just, again, it just adds to this. This is just going to be one of those times that you sit back and I know for us, Damian, with us being younger, you know, we're going to sit back and hopefully 20 years and be like, I remember when college football, and it's going to start with Nico Iamaleava and his family. But we'll start off first with Tennessee. How about Tennessee? What's Tennessee doing? They lost their quarterback. Everyone feels bad. They got 2 freshmen on the team, but that's it. Nobody with any playing experience. The Notre Dame quarterback, Angeli, he goes in the portal last week. Everyone says, oh, that's the guy. He's definitely going to Tennessee. Well, maybe he's not going to Tennessee because he's visiting some other places like Syracuse. Maybe the different shades of orange. He liked the one at Syracuse better than Tennessee, and he decided he wanted to go up there. But we did find out yesterday that Joey Aguilar, who was the UCLA quarterback, he had actually transferred in during the winter from App State. He yesterday decided to re-enter the portal, unsurprisingly, because Nico had headed to UCLA. And so, you know, a lot of us are sitting here going, all right, well, you got a chance to do something pretty funny, Tennessee, if you want to. And that is you essentially just swap quarterbacks. And according to Pete Nakos and some other sources, that's exactly what's going on, as Joey Aguilar is going to head to Tennessee to be the next quarterback there in Knoxville. Reportedly, it's going to be about a $1.2 million deal, which is what he was getting, at UCLA. But if you look at a lot of the reports on Nico, that's about half of what he was making at Tennessee. So if you're the Volunteers, you got a new quarterback for half the price. And I mean, he threw for more touchdown passes than Nico last year. Granted, it was at App State. I understand the competition level's different,
right. But still, the numbers are there.
The numbers are there, and you know, you can work with that, right?
Exactly.
I think that's something that you can work with. So Tennessee, it looks like they have found their quarterback in UCLA transfer Joey Aguilar, who again played at App State the last couple of years, then transferred to UCLA this winter. He now comes back out of the portal, goes back in the portal and comes out and lands there in Knoxville. So for you, Damian, being the Heupel disciple, former Heupel disciple, I don't know.
No, that commitment is still there.
Okay. So does this move, and I know, you know, I'm assuming you didn't, you know, pound the tape on App State last year. Maybe I'm wrong.
Not too much.
But how does this make you feel as a Heupel disciple? Does this change your expectations for Tennessee? Do you feel like maybe things aren't as rocky as some people might say?
It's one of those things where at least he already comes in with prior experience. I'm not going to say that he's, you know, going to put up Hendon Hooker type numbers, but he's a guy that's played a good amount of football. Nothing's going to truly surprise him. And also, he's going to be surrounded with better weapons that he had at App State. And he had success when he was at App State. Now, App State probably runs the ball a little bit more, and their style's a little bit different. But also, I mean, he got a little juice to him. He got some wiggle to him. I think, how quickly can he get adapted to the new system? And I think he'll probably have a couple games to start the season off where it's like, okay, he's a little rusty, just trying to figure all these things out as far as timing goes. But I think, one, you step up in competition. Two, for Tennessee, you're getting him at half the price on a guy that's more experienced than what you just had. And I think it's all about the pieces that are around Aguilar that will, elevate his game a little bit. Not to say that he can't go out there and get it done. And I'm not going to sit here and say, like, I just saw every single App State game, but there's going to be chances that he has to hit those deep balls. And the biggest thing for him is just finding any sort of middle ground consistency that, okay, he's not as frustrating to watch as Nico. He may not have the arm strength of Joe Milton, but can he be close to as accurate as Hendon Hooker? Because those are the 3 quarterbacks that Josh Heupel's had since he's been there. Can he have a little bit of something from each of them that, makes him the total package? And to me, as long as he is accurate and consistent with the football, they should be fine. Because if anything, they showed last year that, hey, if we have to make it ugly and have to run the ball 30 times a game, so be it. So now you have that. You don't have as much pressure on you to go out and absolutely just light it up, but you're going to have your opportunities.
Yeah, and I mean, and I brought it up in the past when we were talking about this over the last couple of weeks. But again, if you're Tennessee, when you're bringing a guy in and you're looking at it, I understand the potential of what a guy like Nico possesses and what you maybe thought he was developing into. But the reality of it is, last year you made the college football playoff with him as your starting quarterback, and you're looking to replace the production that he gave you last year, which was roughly 3,000 passing yards, 19 passing touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. So you're not, again, not necessarily taking this as a shot at Nico, but there's a lot of quarterbacks in college football that can give you those numbers, right? There's plenty of them. Now, granted, can you do that in the SEC like you were doing when you're playing at Appalachian State? Maybe, maybe not. But you're not out there, again, you're not trying to go and replace a guy that just threw for, 4,500 yards and 40 touchdowns last year and was, getting Heisman votes, right? You're trying to replace a guy that was, in my opinion, a middle of the pack SEC quarterback last year. And so if you can bring in another guy who's, again, a middle of the pack SEC quarterback, you're going to be in a pretty similar position in my mind. Now, maybe you're not making the college football playoff, but who knows? So it's an interesting situation there in Knoxville, but they appear to have their quarterback in UCLA transfer, Joey Aguilar. So a little bit of a, it's kind of like that show Wife Swap, if you used to watch that, except it's quarterback. So that's cool. But Joey Aguilar, now he gets paid the same amount he was getting at UCLA, but he goes somewhere with no state income tax. Nico is going somewhere and getting paid about $1 million less and has a significant income tax. So something tells me Joey Aguilar is probably feeling pretty good, right?
Right. Exactly.
You ended up on a better team in a better conference
and better money,
and you're better off financially.
Exactly. And that's
the trifecta.
It's the thing, man. It's the nature of college football now, so we kind of have to get used to things like this. But to your point, we'll look back 20, 30 years from now, and we'll point to this moment like, this is when college athletics started to change. It's, you can say the introduction to the transfer portal, NIL, but now it's, okay, he's the first big name to essentially just make a move because of money, and in the end, played himself. And also, I'm going UCLA being in the Big Ten, it's already shaky to begin with.
Yeah.
But then when you listen to his camp and how, it's not about, money, it's all about systems and things, and you look at this UCLA squad and you compare it paper to paper against Tennessee, it's, okay, in what way do you think that he is going to a better situation? Just lay out the examples of where, other than him going home.
Yeah.
Congratulations. You're a California kid, you want to be back out on the West Coast, congratulations. But other than that, the money's worse, the situation's worse, the conference worse. What can you do?
I was about to say, you have a worse head coach, you have a worse offensive system, you have worse weapons around you. And as we know, with them being in the Big Ten now, like you were saying, I haven't heard anybody have positive things to say about the travel. Like, I haven't heard anybody that's just like, oh, yeah, man, I love that we have to go across the country, if we're UCLA and go play a Rutgers or a Minnesota or something in November. Yeah, that's what we love. So that, but hey, that's the house that he built, and he will live in it now. But you may be wondering, and I think this is an excellent question for anybody to ask, with the Nico situation is, well, A, is it finally over? Maybe. But B, now that Joey Aguilar is gone, who's going to back up Nico at UCLA? That's what we're all wondering, right? What if something happens to him and they need a contingency plan, right? You need a backup. We know how important those are. Well, why not just keep it in the family? As it was announced late last night, I could not believe this is one of those I had to quadruple check because I thought this was a troll 100%. And it is very real. But late last night, it was announced that Arkansas quarterback Madden Iamaleava will enter the transfer portal and go to UCLA to follow his brother Nico. So if you haven't heard of him before and you missed it when we brought him up last week, because this is somebody we brought up with the UCLA thing initially, because so Madden Iamaleava, Nico's little brother, had initially committed to UCLA. He was going to go play at UCLA. Then this last recruiting cycle, at the last minute, he decommits from UCLA and commits to Arkansas because of NIL, right? Arkansas offered him a little more money than UCLA did. So at the last second, he spurs UCLA and heads to Arkansas. So we talked about how that might factor into the Nico situation because there were reports coming out that UCLA might just be done with his family and not want to go anywhere near that situation because they just got burned by his little brother. So he ended up going to Arkansas. Nico, as we know, was at Tennessee. And now here we are a couple of weeks later, and Nico and Madden Iamaleava are both going to UCLA to play the quarterback position. And that is just, man, I am sorry. This is one of my least favorite families of all time now. Like, there's no, I'm trying to think off the top of my head of like families that I would like. It's disgusting. Like, I'm sorry. This is embarrassing. Like, if I'm either one of them, I'm embarrassed. If you're the dad, you should be embarrassed. You should be ashamed of yourself. I just don't. This is, I will say this right now, and I can be proven wrong, and I will totally own up to this. Neither of these guys are ever going to be successful at the professional level. It's not happening. It is not happening. They are not wired the way that it takes to be a winner. They don't have it. And I understand you want to go get your money. You want to chase the bag. You want to go, live in LA and live that life. Well, that's going to be great for the next couple of years. But what happens 3 years from now when you're looking around and your best option is to go sell Toyotas? Like, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But you have all the talent in the world. You have all the potential in the world. You're getting paid millions of dollars to play a game. And your family is treating this like, seriously, they are treating this like a game. And it's disgusting. I'll be honest, like, if you're UCLA, I guess you're desperate, but why? Why?
Is it worth it? Like, is it worth all this stress and trauma? Like, to your point, Nico and Madden eventually are going to become adults. And technically, you could say Nico is already an adult, but I think that the more that they lean, listen, we've all got dads. We've all, we have these situations where we ask our father for advice, but we don't necessarily let him dictate our moves. At some point, they have to be the pushback. And I don't remember what show I was listening to, but if you're Nico, especially when the whole Tennessee situation was just getting started, you got to look at your dad and say, hey, man, like, I'm out there on the field.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the one that's controlling all of this. I need you to back off. Like, could you just give me some time can I make my own decisions? It's not, maybe Nico is probably like, maybe it's not all about the bag. Maybe I genuinely enjoy my time at Tennessee. We just played for a doggone college football playoff. Mm-hmm. At some point, they're going to have to put their foot down and have to look their dad in the face and say, hey, listen, I want to be in control of what I want to do. Because when it comes down to it, you're not always going to be here. Like, it's eventually Nico has to step up and Madden have to step up and say, Pops, we appreciate you. We love you. But let us make our own decisions. And whatever, if it's right or wrong, all we ask is for your love and grace and through it all. But at some point, these guys have to put their foot down and say, hey, no, this is what I want to do. This is how I want to go about it. And if you got something to say, hey, we'll just agree to disagree.
No, you're absolutely right. And I mean, and look, I know these are completely different circumstances here, but I'll be completely honest right now. If I listen to my parents, I wouldn't work here right now. Do you think my parents wanted me to work here? No. You're going to gamble on your career and go work in radio. I'm serious. Both of my parents have told me in my life, you should stop. It's time for you to go do a real job, because how sustainable is this? But I love my parents. I respect their opinion. But I don't take their opinion on everything because I'm an adult. And I believed in myself and I believed in what we have here at JOX, and I decided that I wanted to keep doing this, and it's working out pretty well now. And they've admitted that. They acknowledge that now, but they were looking out for my best interest when I was coming out of college. They didn't know. But I believed in myself and I was an adult and I wanted to put my future into my own hands. And here we are. So if you're a college kid and you're getting paid $2 million to go and throw a football, I think at that point you're being treated like an adult enough to where you can go and handle your business like a man. And I understand you might have some uncomfortable conversations and people have different family dynamics. But you have to understand when people are not giving you good advice and when you got to take matters into your own hands at times. So, really bizarre situation there. But the Amaliava family, hopefully done with them in the SEC. Good riddance. Good luck, UCLA. You just good luck. Feel like you're going to have your hands full for the next couple of years. But I did want to turn that conversation into something more fun on the other side. So we've talked a lot of time. Spent a lot of time the last couple of weeks talking about the Amaliavas and the quarterback position. So when we come back, why don't we go through the top 5 quarterbacks in college football for this upcoming season? As it stands right now, not projecting. We can talk about the guys that we think might be there at the end of the year. But right now, going into the year, based on what we've seen last year, the last couple of years, who are the 5 guys in all of college football that you're the most confident in? I've got my list. We'll get Damien's list. You can chime in 205-834-9450. So top 5 quarterbacks in college football. We'll debate. We'll discuss when we return here on JOX 94.5. Oh, 6:26 here on your Tuesday morning. Conrad and Damien here with you. Appreciate you joining us on JOX 94.5. Damien's favorite song.
It was.
It was. It was at one time.
Number one in my Apple Music year in review last year.
Oh, was it really?
It really was. It was. It was this. It was Dance with Our Hands Tied, and I know Espresso was in the top 5. And then there was a couple Key Glock songs in there, and then The Weeknd. So it was very diverse.
I was about to say that is an interesting assortment of music. Don't know if there's a lot of other people that have that same on their Spotify or Apple Rewind. That's awesome there. All right, so if you're just joining us though, we did spend some time this morning. We were talking about the situation there for both Tennessee and UCLA. So Tennessee gets Joey Aguilar, the former UCLA quarterback, out of the portal. So a little bit of a trade almost there with him and Nico. And then we find out late last night that Nico's little brother, Madden, who was committed to Arkansas or was at Arkansas, he is now re-entering the portal and going to UCLA with his brother. So all of that quarterback conversation made me want to talk about something, first off, not related to the Iamaliavas, and secondly, something that's not going to make me mad about the state of college athletics. So I figured, let's talk about the top 5 quarterbacks in college football outside, or not just the SEC, but all of college football, right? So there's a few SEC guys that I have in here, but I'm very interested to see what some of y'all think. I'm very interested to see what Damien's list looks like as well, if it is similar to mine or not. But I'll just run through mine for you real quick, and this is in no particular order, but these would just be my top 5 guys going into the year right now. I know, okay, I said top 5, but honorable mention for number 6. I put Drew Aller on there as my honorable mention. I just don't know quite what his ceiling is. I understand they made it to the Final Four of the college football playoff last year. He has shown that he is taking strides in his development, and maybe this year is finally that year for him. But some of those plays that he made in the postseason, you're just kind of wondering about those throws, and now you don't have a Tyler Warren there. So I had him as my honorable mention. So for my top 5 quarterbacks, though, in college football for this upcoming season, I threw in Sam Leavitt from Arizona State. So he had 2,800 yards, 24 touchdowns, 6 picks last year, added 5 rushing touchdowns and 400 yards on the ground there for the Sun Devils. So I had him on there. I had Garrett Nussmeier on there from LSU, threw for 4,000 yards, 29 touchdowns last year for the LSU Tigers. Again, I think that's a guy that very, very well will be could be in New York for the Heisman ceremony at the end of this upcoming season. Another guy that if you've listened to the show, you know I'm very high on. I've talked about him a good bit this offseason. That's John Mateer, who is now at Oklahoma, the former Washington State quarterback. But he threw for 3,100 yards last year to go along with 29 interceptions and 800 rushing yards for 15 rushing touchdowns. So he's got the juice there. So I think John Mateer is still probably the most underrated player in college football, in my opinion, just because, let's be honest, not a lot of people were watching Washington State last year. I then have Lenora Sellers there. So if you're keeping track, this would be, there's 2 left. I have Lenora Sellers, the freshman from South Carolina last year. We all know how incredible he was. Threw for 2,500 yards, 18 touchdowns, and then ran for 600 yards and 7 more touchdowns. And then finally, I did not have faith in this guy at all until last season, and now I think maybe we've turned the corner and I've seen the light a little bit. But I got to go Cade Klubnik. He absolutely tore it up for Clemson last year. So those are my top 5 quarterbacks: Cade Klubnik, Lenora Sellers, John Mateer, Garrett Nussmeier, Sam Leavitt, in no particular order. So we do have to get to a break here, but 205-834-9450. Who do you think the top 5 quarterbacks are in all of college football? Maybe you just want to share who you think the best is, your top 2, top 3, something like that. Would love to hear from you. And when we return, we're going to get Damien's list, and then we're going to compare, discuss my top 5 quarterbacks for the 2025 football season with Damien's, and we'll get your reaction as well at 205-834-9450. You're listening to Morning JOX here on JOX 94.5. 6:34. Welcome back in. Morning Jocks here on Jocks 94.5. Connor, Addie, and Damien talking about our top 5 college football quarterbacks for the upcoming season. And the reason we're talking about this in the middle of April is because we spent so much time lately talking about Nico and all the quarterback drama going on at Tennessee and UCLA that I wanted to talk about something positive with the position and kind of get that bad taste out of all of our mouths from all of the drama from the last couple of weeks. So I shared my top 5 before the break. Now we're going to get Damien's, and then we will go to the text line and the phone line and get yours. But quickly to recap, I said my top 5. This is in no order, but I had Cade Klubnik, Lenore Sellers, John Mateer, Garrett Nussmeier, and Sam Levitt as my top 5 quarterbacks. So now, Damien, how different or how similar is your list?
It's close. We're both well represented from the SEC. I'll start off with mine. I have Lenore Sellers from South Carolina. I think it goes without saying, if you watch South Carolina and you saw the engine that was the quarterback, it was again, he caught everybody by surprise. I don't think he was on everybody's scouting report, and he went out there and performed at a high level. Number 2, I have, and again, it's not in any particular order. This is just the order I'm going in right now. Number 2, I think he has a lot of upside. You saw it last season. DJ Lagway. I think DJ Lagway is really, when you look at just, if he stays 100% healthy, that Florida team looks completely different. And again, we go back to that Georgia game. If he does not get hurt, again, we can speak in hypotheticals. We can say if or when. But
I think they win that game too.
Yes. Yep. And it's convincing. It's, no, he is the best player on the football field. Number 3 for me, I also have another guy from the SEC, Garrett Nussmeier. As long as he can stop turning the ball over, you can't deny the talent in which he is. It's evident from what LSU is able to do in their offense. Number 4, it's going to be controversial, but I still remember the good times. I have Carson Beck.
I thought you were going to say Nico.
No. It was the system's fault. No, I have Carson Beck because I do think that Alabama game happening so early in the season, it really broke him. But we know what he can do when he has the talent around him. And I do think his talent does garner him being in the top 5 discussion. Even he's on the outside looking in, he's kind of on that fringe. Like the first 3 guys, I'm like, no, there's no question about it. And the guy, number 5 for me, and I'm with you. Going into the season last year, I was extremely skeptical. I thought he was literally just the orange, purple, and white Bo Nix when he was at Auburn. But it's Cade Klubnik. And he really earned my respect in the towards the end of the season, the college football playoff, when Clemson needed him the most. He found a way to get it done. And I thought he had already reached his ceiling just early on. I looked at him going into this season. Well, actually going into last season, it's the way I look at Jackson Arnold for Auburn this year. When I watch him, it's like something's not clicking, but it's there. Like I can see it, I can sense it, but in game time, it's where's it at? That's how I looked at Cade Klubnik last year, and that's how I look at Jackson Arnold this year. And I actually had Jackson Arnold kind of in the honorable mention because of I know it's in there. Like you can't not watch him play. Like again, no matter how you slice it up, turnovers were an issue. Jackson Arnold got in Jackson Arnold's way. I don't necessarily think it was anything else. It was once he lost his confidence, it kind of just evaporated. But you can't not look at some of those good things that he did and it's like, okay, yeah, if he can figure it all out and not lose the confidence, yes, he should be in this conversation as well. But Cade Klubnik, now the expectation is I don't expect Clemson to lose a game because of Cade Klubnik. It's got to be other things that just don't operate at a high level because I do have expectations that Cade Klubnik can take this Clemson team wherever they need to go.
Yeah, and if you look at it right now, Cade Klubnik has the 3rd best odds to win the Heisman Trophy for the upcoming season, right behind Garrett Nussmeier and somebody that I want to talk about here quickly that we did not mention. But I think your list is excellent. So DJ Lagway was one for me where I wanted to put him on my list, but I'm also in the let me give it a couple games of this season and make sure that we're still on track. And I guess you could maybe make a similar argument for somebody like Lenore Sellers, where at least we got to see him for a full season, right? But you wonder with some of these guys, all right, now that you've got the tapes out on you, it's your sophomore season, are things going to be a little more difficult for you? But no, I think DJ Lagway certainly deserves to be in that conversation. And if we were projecting out toward like for the end of the year, what I think the list would be at the end of the year, I would certainly have him on there. I'm super high on DJ Lagway, just like you. But the person we didn't mention, and as I just said, has the best odds to win the Heisman Trophy right now. I'm just not there yet. We all know who it is. It's Arch Manning. Where are you on Arch Manning going into the season? Because I think he's going to be good, but I'm not sure how good. I don't know if it's just hard for me to put a finger on if he's just going to be a pretty good quarterback or a Heisman caliber quarterback, because there's a big difference there.
I don't look at him as a Heisman Trophy candidate, but I do look at him as in the upper half of SEC quarterbacks.
Okay.
And even last year, again, he's young. It's different when you get the keys to the car. Like that's where I'm. Okay, yes, Sark is a great offensive-minded guy. He can find ways to just utilize Arch in various ways. But I just tap the brakes a little bit of, I'm not ready to put him in the same boat with his uncles. Like I'm not there yet. Now, his last name helps, and like he has the pedigree if it all clicks. But I'm more of a let's wait and see. And I'm not talking about against, the no offense to the shirt that I'm wearing, but the Mississippi States of the world. But
Yeah.
Louisiana Monroes. I want to see what he looks like starting the season off against Ohio State. If he goes out there and carves him up, okay, then we can have a different conversation. But I want to see what he looks like when there's no looking over your shoulder if I mess up, I'm coming out. It's, nah, big dog, you are the engine, and we are running with you until the wheels fall off of this thing. So I think the pressures of being the man, I want to see how he reacts to it. I just want to see how he plays first before I put him in this, okay, yeah, he's just like, Peyton and the other one.
Yeah, no, and the other one. No, I'm right there with you. I think there's all the potential in the world, but I just need to see it with my own eyes before I'm going to throw him up there in a top 5 quarterbacks list. But your reaction is rolling in here, 205-834-9450 if you want to text in. Quickly, though, let's go to Larry, who's on the road, wants to talk about some quarterbacks this morning. How we doing, Larry?
Hey, guys, always enjoy the show. Just want to throw the question out there in reference to what y'all just discussed. Well, everybody knows the pedigree of the Mannings, but my question is, are they losing a lot up front on both sides of the ball with Texas on the O-line and the D-line? And I was just wondering if y'all could answer that. And there's no doubt that what little I saw him play last year, he impressed me. But that's all I had to ask, guys, and tremendously enjoy the show. Thanks, guys.
Oh, thank you, Larry. Appreciate you chiming in as often as you do, my friend. Yeah, so I know on the offensive front, obviously, you're losing Kelvin Banks, who was a big part of what you did. I mean, he's probably going to be a first-round pick in the upcoming draft. You also, let's see, you lost Jake Majors there on the offensive line as well. So you've got a couple of holes to fill there up front. And then, let's see, on the defensive front, doing a little better on the defensive front in terms of being able to maintain some of the talent there. That was one of the things that I thought Texas did a really good job of the last couple of years, was bringing in defensive line talent, and some of the guys that you've seen there since they joined the SEC last year and even their last year in the Big 12, they really addressed the trenches and have gotten a lot better there. And if you remember, they were kind of the first school to say, hey, if you want to come play offensive line here, doesn't matter if you ever play a snap for us. We need offensive line talent. We are going to pay you NIL money just to breathe. Just to breathe. Because they needed depth on the offensive line. And that's paid dividends for them because you have 5 guys coming back this year that not all guys that were starters last year, but that have been a part of the program. You don't have guys transferring in that are new faces, and they've done a really good job in that regard. So, Larry, I think they're going to be just fine on the offensive and defensive fronts. But want to get more of your reaction, 205-834-9450. See you on the text line, see you on the phone line. Your top quarterbacks in college football for the 2025 season. We get your reaction next on JOX 94.5.
647 here on Morning JOX, JOX 94.5. Damian Mitchell, Conrad Van Order here with you for a few more moments as we pass you off at the top of the hour to our friends McElroy and Kublik in the morning. We're talking about performances on the field, top 5 quarterbacks. How about some performances in the bedroom? I can help you out. You need to lock into Blue Chew. Blue Chew is an online service that delivers the same active ingredients of Viagra, Cialis, Levitra in chewable form and at a fraction of the cost. Blue Chew tablets are performance enhancement for the bedroom and can help men gain extra confidence when it's time to perform. Again, it's online, so you don't have to worry about going to the doctor. You ain't got to worry about having those awkward conversations and no waiting in line at the pharmacy because it ships right to your door. And speaking of shipping, that's the only thing you got to pay because I'm going to get you a free offer. Go to bluechew.com and get your first month free when you use our promo code JOX at checkout. And the only thing you got to pay for is the $5 shipping. That's bluechew.com. Promo code JOX to receive your first month free. And remember, your boy DM6 told you, just chew it and do it.
All right, getting back to our conversation here about the top 5 quarterbacks in college football heading into the 2025 season. We're going to get to your texts and your calls here, but I did want to pass this along. I just saw this. I guess it was announced late last night or early this morning, but it appears that one President Donald Trump has made the announcement that he will be giving the commencement speech at the University of Alabama's graduation coming up in a couple of weeks. So if you are someone that has a student down there in Tuscaloosa who will be graduating in early May, you might have the President of the United States delivering your commencement speech there. So kind of a cool opportunity if you are going to be attending in Tuscaloosa. Not sure which day. I know that graduation runs May 2nd through the 4th, so I'm not sure what day he's going to be speaking, but that announcement coming down earlier this morning. All right, to the text line we go, 205-834-9450, top 5 quarterbacks in college football. Joseph weighs in with his list. He says, Cade Klubnik, Drew Aller, John Mateer, Garrett Nussmeier, and Lenora Sellers are my top 5, and honorable mentions go to Sam Leavitt, Kevin Jennings, the SMU quarterback, Arch Manning, and DJ Lagway. So
fair.
All guys that we've mentioned except for Kevin Jennings,
Yeah, I just think the last game of the season just kind of it just leaves a little bit of sour taste in my mouth for Kevin Jennings because I mean
I'm just never going to forgive them for losing to Clemson in that game, but it's fine, whatever. It's fine.
It's tough.
Yeah, that it is. Let's see. Somebody says no Diego Pavia, LOL. I wouldn't have him in the top 5.
No, he's the toughest quarterback returner for sure.
Oh yeah. Oh, he's not in the top 5 though. Now, you could probably talk me into top 10.
Yeah.
Definitely. I would definitely say top 15. You could probably talk me into top 10. But in terms of locker room and toughness,
oh yeah, 1,000%.
He's number 1.
1,000%.
He's number 1. Somebody else also asked, is Arch better than Quinn Ewers? That's the question. And I feel like that's a tricky one because Quinn's one of those guys that, I mean, we've talked about it before, Damian. Sometimes he makes throws where you're like, there it is. That's why you're Quinn Ewers. That's why you've been talked about for years and years. But there's other times with the arm talent just isn't there and it just hangs in the air and it's like, wait, what are we doing here? So right now I would view them as equal.
Right.
Essentially.
I mean, Arch got more wiggle to him.
Yeah.
Like he's just more athletic. But other than that, I kind of think they're tit for tat.
TBD. That one we will have to wait and see for the season, I think, for that one. Brandon chimes in. He says his top 5, Cade Klubnik, Drew Aller, Garrett Nussmeier, Carson Beck, and Sam Leavitt. Okay. Very good list there.
See, on Drew Aller,
my thing with him is we've seen him more than a lot of these other guys,
right,
and I'm still not sold on him.
Yeah, like he's...
Like last year, like we talked about with Cade Klubnik, I thought Drew Aller was better last year, but it wasn't one of those seasons where I just was like, oh my God, yeah, this guy's incredible. I can't wait to watch him next year.
Like he's closer to 10 than he is 5. Like if we were doing honorable mention, he'd probably be 8, 9. But a lot of it's just because he's one of the few older quarterbacks that's just returning. Yeah. I don't necessarily just look at him and think like, okay, if he was anywhere else, would he be more successful than the guys that are ahead of him? And I just don't think he is. No,
I think that's a good point. Somebody says, why have you guys not mentioned Arch Manning? I'm not a fan myself, but want to know where you guys are. I just like the question of why haven't you mentioned him? I mean, I don't like him, but I was wondering if you guys like him. I mean, as we've said, we're, TBD on Arch. I think we both expect him to be good. It's just a question of how good can he actually be. Let's see. Someone's not happy because their daughter's graduating from Alabama and they do not want Donald Trump to do the speech. Well, I'm sorry. I'm just passing along the information that is made available to me. Let's see. Jacob from Huntsville, he chimes in. He says his top 5. Well, first off, honorable mentions. First time we've heard this guy's name, Julian Sayin. And again, he's one of those guys where if we were talking about what we think the list will be at the end of the year, I could see that projection being there.
Yeah, I just hadn't seen him play.
Correct. We haven't seen him.
I just hadn't seen him play.
Correct. But potential's there. Again, he's a traitor, so I don't know what that tells you about his character, but we'll see how he performs this fall for Ohio State. But he also has Arch Manning as an honorable mention. And then Jacob's top 5, he has them in order. Number 5, Drew Aller. Number 4, Garrett Nussmeier. 3, DJ Lagway. 2, Lenore Sellers. And 1, Cade Klubnik. I think that's a pretty solid list there. Josh chimes in. He says he just throws in one guy, so I don't know if you think this is the best quarterback or not, but he says Gunnar Stockton.
Wait and see.
Personally, I would not have him in my
strong arm though.
Top 5 or 10 or no, yeah. Yes. Again, tools are there, but we got to see it.
Gives me a more polished Devin Leary.
That doesn't make me feel better. Let's see. Jody chimes in with the top 5. They say DJ Lagway, Avery Johnson at Kansas State. Okay. Cade Klubnik, Lenore Sellers, and Arch Manning, number 1. All right, Jody, I see you. I see. And from Oklahoma.
Oh, that's
okay. That's
no gentleman. Hey.
I appreciate it. All right. Well, thank you guys for chiming in this morning here about the top 5 quarterbacks. Quickly, let's go to our buddy Don before we close out the show. Don, how you doing this morning? Appreciate you holding on.
Hey, guys. How are y'all? Conrad Damien stole my thunder, man. That's exactly what I was going to do with name. All the people y'all been talking about, I agree with. But question for you. Is McCord back to Syracuse, or did he?
He's in the draft.
Okay. If he was playing, that was going to be one of my top 5. But yeah, Jackson Arnold's got potential, Damien. I agree with you, man. Now we just got to see it, brother.
That's it.
But he's got to say one thing. He's got the receivers to work with, don't he?
So did Peyton Thorne.
Ooh.
Well, not like that.
Yeah, he did. He did. All y'all added was Eric Singleton and a couple more freshmen. The players are still there.
Sorry, Don. Got to go. McElroy and Kublik in the morning. Those guys.